to the second big half hour of the Patrick Regan Show here on the Libertarian Lighthouse Radio Network. And both of us are residing currently at WOKI News Talk 98.7 here in beautiful Knoxville, Tennessee. When we left off the last segment, we were talking about Syria and why we don't need to be there, and this obvious cult-like behavior of the people who are in these respective parties, Democrat, Republican, and Independent, which is, I believe, is really Democrat. They just don't like the label, I guess. Want to appear that they're thoughtful and they consider all the options before voting Democrat. But as I said with these polls are just really telling when you're asking Americans, should we be in Syria? And they're saying no, 80%, 75, 80% are saying no, we don't need to be there. Then all of a sudden, when you say that their particular party's wanting us there, then all of a sudden it's a good thing. And this is the problem. This is the problem we have in America today. This is why, as libertarians, we need to get out there and demonstrate to people that there is another way. There's what's called an American way. It's not Democrat. It's not Republican. It gets us back to what America used to be. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't want to go back to that. Anyway, we're going to get back to Senator Cruz's speech here that he was giving on the floor. Let's go ahead and just jump right into this next clip here.
Once committed to this path, we risk either being forced to incrementally increase our support or facing the humiliation of losing to either al-Qaeda groups or Assad, or both, which would delight both Iran and Russia.
So we get a little bit of reason here. Senator Cruz accurately states we'll be stuck if we get into this mess, or we'll be defeated with Iran and Russia looking on. Again, here's that Cold War mentality again, but I do agree with his assessment of the situation, though. It is a no-win for us.
President Obama has just announced another $300 million in humanitarian aid for Syria, but only about half of the aid already pledged has been delivered. The other half hasn't because of logistical issues and the challenges of keeping these resources out of the hands of bad actors. How on earth can we expect to deliver guns if we can't even get MREs into the country?
There you go. $300 million. $300 million. Money that's being wasted. And we can't even make sure it's getting to the right people. Just what I mentioned at the top of the last segment. We don't even need to be sending humanitarian aid because it doesn't reach the intended people. But it makes us feel better throwing money at the problem. Hey, Patrick, at least we're doing something to try and feed and care for these people. Who cares if it all isn't getting there? This is the same problem we have in this country. People throwing good money after bad, all in an effort to make themselves feel better, to somehow justify their existence in this world. I'm doing something, Patrick. I'm making a difference. No, you're not. More than likely, just like in this case, you're making the situation worse. It's the same thing when you give money to the people standing on the ramp on the interstate. Oh, yeah, they're going to use it to buy needed medical services. They're going down to the Quick Mart and buying a beer with it. But, gee, it makes you feel better, doesn't it? This drives me crazy when I hear people saying this. At least I'm doing something. Hey, idiot, it's not working. You might as well flush that money down the toilet for all the goods it's doing. But I guess it makes you feel better, and that's all that matters. You already feel guilty enough about being successful and living in a country where you don't have to eat bugs or mush or drink dirty water. Sure, feel guilty about all those amenities of living in the United States. If it'll make you feel any better, just turn off your water and dig a well. Not one with an electric pump, a manual pump, the one you got to crank. And get rid of your car, too. If you make it harder on yourself, will you feel better then? Will you stop wasting money trying to somehow buy your redemption? But I'm getting off track there. Anyway, after Senator Cruz goes on in this speech about how we don't need to be intervening militarily in Syria, we don't need to be sending weapons to our enemies, he thinks the time is past for us being able to do something. He comes up with this concerning the weapons of mass destruction in Syria.
We need to be developing right now a clear, practical plan to go in, locate the weapons, secure or destroy them, and then get out.
So we're going into this country. We're going to find and remove or destroy all the chemical weapons there and then leave? That's the plan, correct?
What are you people? On dope?
Don't know. It sure sounds like it, though. Here's a clip from last week's show. We're now getting reports that the Assad government is using chemical weapons. Never mind that this charge has been leveled against the Syrian rebels as well. It all starts sounding like the whole Bush weapons of mass destruction in Iraq storyline again. No one would back that war until we started talking about Saddam Hussein having weapons of mass destruction. There you go. No public support for intervention in Iraq. Oh, wait. Hey, there's weapons of mass destruction there. Now we have to go in. Fast forward to now. No public support for intervention in Syria. Oh, wait. Hey, there's weapons of mass destruction there, too. And by the way, they've got raping, torture, killing, just like in Iraq. Am I the only one that thinks this is starting to sound like a bunch of children trying to justify their actions with the same story over and over? Are we going to continue to keep buying this? We don't seem to be when we're asked about it in a nonpartisan way. Just look at the polls I mentioned. There's no support until the question is asked in a partisan way. Then the support's there. Blind loyalty to their party leader. Let's just call all parties what they are, cults. They have unwavering support for their leader, no matter which side you're on. Give them all your money. Give them all your support. Give them your vote. Doesn't matter they're violating your rights. They're getting us tangled up in wars and conflicts. Nothing matters but supporting the supreme leader of either party. Now, sometimes that supreme leader isn't a person so much as it's an ideology, in the case that the party's not in power. Real quickly, this next clip, Senator Cruz is talking about how inept the administration has been recently as it pertains to other problems we had in this area of the world.
We are apparently just supposed to trust the president to manage Syria policy more effectively than he has over the last 2 years and more effectively than he has managed events in Iran, Libya, and Egypt.
This is my problem with this speech. It oscillates back and forth between doing something in Syria and not doing something, staying out of Syrian problems, but criticizing the president for not, quote, managing the problems in Iran, Libya, and Egypt. Now, maybe you can refresh my memory. When did Iran, Libya, and Egypt become states or even territories? Oh, that's right, they're not. Then why are we trying to manage anything in those countries? How many times does it have to be stated? It's none of our business. But Patrick, they have bombs. They're abusing their people. They're killing, maiming, raping, torturing. Yes, you're right. And if you don't agree with it, feel free to head over there and do something about it. But from a constitutional standpoint, we don't have any authority to be going into a foreign country and trying to set up governments. None. Zero. Nada. We're up on the last break here on the Patrick Regan Show. When we come back, we'll probably stick with this. We have a couple more clips about this Syria, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. And we've got let's see. Yeah, we're apparently charging people who have been fighting over there as well, despite the fact that we are too. So when we come back on the Patrick Regan Show, join me in about a minute and a half.